and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's me, Dukect T, back with you once again. And wow, looks like the wrestling world didn't do anything stupid this week. Well, honestly, it did. Thank you, Corey Graves. But you know what? That's been talked about and all that good stuff. And what I would actually say, other than the whole that situation, is Corey Graves is an idiot, and pretty much that would be the entire podcast. But that wouldn't be entertaining for you. I know. But anyway, let's see if we hopefully the guest is here. Just see hopefully the guest is here. I think that's guest two. It's, hopefully it is. By the way, if you want to call in and do the thing, all you gotta do is set up the stuff here. Is remember, as always, number is 605-562-0444. Once again, the number is 605-562-0444. And the call ID to connect with me, Duke C, is 92417. Once again, call is 92417. And if you just have the internet, you just have a little bit, just a little bit of connection there and all that stuff. You out there, you have a headphone, a microphone, just come in the internet, bam, boom, you connect and do all that good stuff. So yeah, yeah. I don't know why. I hope it'll get there. It is Rowdy C. Is about to set up here, but let me set up the story here. WWE in Saudi Arabia. We're going to talk about the issue with that. Because I was going to talk about it last week, but then Jim Cornette and his, mouth got into trouble, so I had to put that up. I had to put that in the back burner. And now, here we are here. And I didn't want to talk most about the story because it felt too, let's just say a little too unoffending. I'm like, okay, what's really going on? I wanted to wait. You know? I want to wait until the I want to wait to make sure everything is I wanted to make sure all the stuff is all right. I want to make sure that all the things were always will make sure about that. We seem to have that. All the information, because we do have a hype first thing. What about you? So what about you, Cornell? I heard the damn thing. There was audio and all that other stuff. So I jumped at, I jumped at that at the great at that opportunity. That was what it was, and all the other stuff too about Google Stadia, everything else, all the other stuff too. There was always about I waited to the release date and everything in release. It was right there. So. And so yeah, I don't want to get on the hot takes. It's hot take stuff can really. It's just right there. Oh, we got Rowdy C. I think he's up. Let me see. Rowdy, are you there? What? Is Rowdy?
Hey, Duke.
Here you are. Hey everyone. This is Rowdy C from TV Trash and from other stuff here, Rowdy and Friends, all the stuff here. Thanks for joining me because I wanted to ask you about this. I know you talked about this on your live stream show, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this about this whole rumors and stuff about what happened to WWE in Saudi Arabia, what really happened, and I got the stuff up here, and it's it's a lot of people are making a lot of hay about this stuff. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I did just about an hour ago finally uploaded the segment from that live stream and posted on my own site at rowdyc.com. I did the segment I did when I did discuss this on Sunday night's edition. Now again, yeah, as probably aware, there was a situation after the WWE Crown Jewel pay-per-view event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the second of what is now becoming WWE's regular biannual Saudi Arabia event. And yeah, we're all aware there's a lot of controversy and issues about whether or not WWE should even be performing in a nation like Saudi Arabia to begin with. That's a subject for another time because we definitely are focusing on it. Exactly what happened after the conclusion of the event. Because like you said, the plane that was to carry the vast majority of the superstars and employees back home to the States from Saudi Arabia. Of course, there was another plane that included Vince McMahon, Brock Lesnar, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, a handful of other people. That plane took off from Saudi Arabia with no incident. But as it was as reported, and this much factually much we do know, is that the plane that was transporting everyone else was delayed for a little more than 24 hours it took. And that was a big deal because that meant a lot of the superstars that were supposed to be in Buffalo, New York for SmackDown the following night did not make it. And they really had to shake things up with the NXT stars to get enough talent to perform at SmackDown.
And that, to me, and that brings up another issue about WWE, the schedule, and how it is a detriment to the performers. And I know we can go into that because I already talked about that ad nauseum.
It definitely is.
Yeah,
it definitely is.
There was like, the chickens came home to roost in that aspect. And I look at that, I'm like, even if things went completely correct, I'm like, your superstars, the people who people you want to go see are going to be tired, jet lagged, and everything else coming back from, Saudi Arabia to Buffalo. And then, by the way, you're going to have to do other live events. I'm like, that's not going to be good for their, their physical and mental health and such. And
that is a very valid concern. I'm going to say that right now. These are definite issues that we would anyone who takes umbrage issue with the fact, first off, the concern about the issues going on in Saudi Arabia right now and whether or not the WWE should actually be in cooperation with them. And then, you there?
Oh, I think there's someone else here. Okay, Money Mike. Let's see. Who is this? Let's see if I can. Matt. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, Money Mark. I'm just browsing, seeing how's everything going. I think I spoke with you guys before.
Perhaps.
All right. So, what are you thinking about this Saudi Arabia stuff? Because it just seems to me that it's overworking your wrestlers, and not only that. Again, the all the other stuff and drama cover, the drama that came out of it.
Especially, sorry for interrupting. Especially with what happened after the thing was over. I mean, the fact that they couldn't even get back in time, stuck on it, over there, and then Vinny apparently left without, almost literally left them behind, almost. And it's
and I was a little bit, but it looks like it was going to be. A lot of people said it was against one of the big things people said that it was supposedly something to deal with Saudi Arabia or anything else about it was a mispayment, but it wasn't. A lot of people.
That's exactly what I was talking. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was bringing up in my own live stream last Sunday, because, like I said, everyone was spreading these rumors that what happened was that the Saudi government was preventing the plane from taking off. They were more or less holding all these WWE stars hostage, as it were, as a supposed retaliation for Vince McMahon supposedly ordering the television feed cut off in Saudi Arabia. That in retaliation for the supposed fact that the KSA had failed to pay WWE what they were supposedly owed for these shows. I just heard all these rumors, and let me say this. This is a big issue that I'm seeing more and more and more, especially in the online community, in all different factors, not just in wrestling. Because I brought this up the previous week on my live stream as well. All the rumors that spread about Disney and the Disney Plus streaming service, and all of those rumors that they were going to censor out everything that was politically incorrect from their classic movies, Dumbo in particular. How all those rumors ultimately ended up being completely false because the movie was released completely uncensored. And this was just another situation where let's be honest, there are a lot of people in the professional wrestling fandom, the professional wrestling media, as it will, and I've got issues on that, which I'll probably be talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. there is definitely a lot of people involved in professional wrestling that have issues with WWE and Vince McMahon in particular. And a lot of those are very valid gripes. There's a number of things that people can't have. There are a number of issues people could definitely talk about Vince McMahon, how he does business, how he treats the talent, how he treats the fans. There are issues that people bring up that have valid complaints against. But because of that, there are a lot of people, and some of these are friends of mine. Some people I have a lot of respect and admiration for, and I don't have any personal beef with them whatsoever. I consider them good friends. But they sometimes do assume anything that comes up gets published on the news feeds or the dirt sheets or whatnot that could portray Vince McMahon as almost like a type of Lex Luthor supervillain type of individual. They automatically believe it has to be true, and they and they don't end up double checking to make sure how valid these claims are. It's just not helped by the fact that the people who are spreading this information, they don't check their facts, what it is. And that's what that was definitely the case of these accusations that there was the whole big claims that the Saudi government held back those WWE stars, and that Vince McMahon was just okay with it and was going to leave them to their fate. There were a lot of problems.
I mean that is not anything against Vince McMahon. For all worse, he does care for his in his way. He cares about the people working under him. I mean, there are people like that, and heck, he has put in a lot of people, rehab, people who work for him say, hey, I'll put the money up for you to go to rehab. Like if Vince was that callous, I mean, it would have shown.
Well, even if he was, if you couldn't use all those examples, let's just look at this from this one perspective. You're going to suggest that Vince McMahon would have shrugged off a situation where, again, a number of the people he and especially the network executives at Fox expected to be in Buffalo, New York that next night. He was going to have just no problem with the fact that his programming got thrown into complete chaos due to this delay, and he's just gonna. It's like he wouldn't have had any problem with it.
I mean, that doesn't make any logical sense. And
no, that was the first big thing that it just didn't make sense for me to hear these worst case scenarios. The other thing, of course, was the fact that, as maybe you're well aware, the number one source for the supposed claims of for these accusations was former WWE Spanish announcer Hugo Savinovich, who I believe now is working with AAA, Lucha Underground, and the like. I believe that is correct. Oh yeah. And he was the one that spread these rumors that it's all started with WWE not being paid the money they were owed. And he stated they were owed a total of $600 million just for 2 shows, apparently. I'm looking at that and thinking, okay, up to this point, my information that I had heard was that WWE was being paid $20 million per show being held in Saudi Arabia. And they've only had, as of Crown Jewel 2019, 4 shows put on in that nation. I mean, do the math. That doesn't even come up to $100 million, let alone 6. Where was these numbers coming from? And then just a whole. But of course, you have guys like Brad Shepard at and of course his fellow cohort Dave Meltzer just completely running with this information and really not having not confirming with any other sources to back it up, and not only that, proceeding to try to discredit any sources that were there present in Saudi Arabia, claiming that no, it was nothing more than mechanical issues. I mean, and just in fact, here's the one thing that just got to me about this, and I'll bring up where I'm getting this from in just a bit. Meltzer posted on Twitter saying one person in the company said WWE is trying to get video from as much talent as possible to claim the mechanical issues on the plane were the problem. Just the fact they would do this is very strange. Now, as my news source that I've read on this said, it's very strange that a company whose basis is in video production would not think to get video evidence confirming what was happening.
Yeah, and I think he was gone. I think someone that Money Mike just left. I think he said something, but maybe his mic got cut off. But hopefully
my
he can come
apologies
back.
for that.
Oh,
My
that's
apologies
all
for
right.
that.
No, it was the internet thing cut off. So yeah, it's not your fault. Blame Comcast or whatever. But anyway, to get back to the point here is that WWE had, like I said, a lot of stuff here. And again, when you look at the rumors and situations about this whole mess and such, and that's why I waited. That's why I waited until all the facts were here. And because if it was this bad, which a lot of people said it was, I would be hearing this in other places at this point. You would be on like maybe on CNN or ESPN or anything else like that. But you didn't hear anything.
Yeah. The fact that what the likes of Shepard and Meltzer were spreading didn't get extended any place more than I think Fox Business and Vice. I think those are the only two of the biggest places that began to somewhat suggest that these rumors were true. The fact that no one else seemed to did was the first key. Then there's the place I looked up. I don't remember exactly where I found this. I think it was someone else posted via social media. When I looked up the story that was released by a guy by the name of Stan Morris. Now I did my own research on this guy to make sure this is as legit as possible. That this source is someplace like The Blaze or Breitbart or whatever the like is. Because I'm becoming one of these people who's less and less trustworthy of just about anything nowadays. But from what I can tell, this Stan Morris guy is a longtime journalist who's based in the Arkansas area, who one day decided to just create his own news source and work independently as a journalist. And he's a guy who read this story, these rumors about what happened to the WWE star supposedly, and wanted to know more. And he ended up doing his own research on the situation. And this is the main thing, is like, I think the number one sources that the total number of sources that I think the likes of Meltzer and Shepard list are Hugo Savinovich, who wasn't present there, and supposedly one person living in Saudi Arabia who had issues with the television feed of the broadcast. That's about the only people they list. That's on our list. This guy, Stan Morris, by my count, I'm trying to list the number of sources he goes, and I'm doing this off the top of my head. I wrote this down on Twitter a couple of weeks or so ago, but I'm trying to remember. He directly talked to AJ Styles. He picked up Jerry Lawler's podcast for more information. It looks like he talked with, he references some other Facebook posts from the likes of Rusev and Buddy, but not Buddy Rogers, but Buddy Murphy, I think it is. Buddy Murphy and Rusev and the like. He probably did speak with anywhere from 1 to 5 WWE executives. It might not have been that many, but I have a good feeling it was more than one. Yeah, I think he talked with I'm willing to bet he talked with at least 2 WWE executives, and he also looked up flight information on their charter flight from a website that tracks it called flightaware.com. So he did a lot of due diligence on this, and I want to try to sum this up as much as possible, just to not keep going on rambling here. But one, not only could he not find anyone who was present in Saudi Arabia at the time to verify the most radical claims that they were being held back by military personnel, and that there was any verification that WWE had not been paid. In fact, he points out that according to WWE's own financial report, they actually did receive the payment they were owed the day before the show went on. That's another one of his sources he lists. He actually goes into the detail of if there was just mechanical issues, why couldn't they have simply gotten another plane. Even that kind of questioned me. Like, he brings up the fact that, not only would it have cost $500,000 almost for them to shuttle everyone back on to pay for tickets to get everyone out there off of the charter flight, but even that would have assumed that they could have gotten that many on such short notice. In fact, I bring this up. Duke, have you ever been stuck in an airport where your
Yes.
flight got delayed or canceled, or you're being put on standby for any?
Oh yeah. I've been there I don't go on a lot of airports and such, but I have been when things getting delayed. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's like
the main thing is you're basically in purgatory almost. You don't know when or where or if you're gonna get a flight out anytime soon, and for them to be in a situation where, like I said, they would expect that people are just assuming that WWE would have been able to scrounge up tickets for more than 100 people to get them all almost best, also to get them to almost the exact same location that they were going to. And I told this to myself. If I was on any type of business trip and my flight out got delayed for whatever reason, and if my employer had the option of telling me, get yourself another flight ASAP, whatever it takes, or, don't worry about it, get out of that airport, get yourself a hotel room, rest up, we'll find a way to fix this. I'm sure as hell hoping they're going with the latter option. And for all intents, as to what Stan Morris here researched, the latter is what happened. They did manage to just, when they realized that that there was a mechanical issue with the plane that apparently required a part that had to be shuttled in from another country even, that they did just deplane everyone, got them a hotel room. He said it wasn't fun for them because they all had to check in, but he said they did get the hotel did allow them free exclusive access to the hotel gym, and he quotes at least one wrestler saying it was the best night's sleep he'd had in a long time. So for all accounts, outside of the frustration that they weren't leaving and going home, there's just all the information we can find seems to be that the WWE stars and employees were treated fairly well, even as they were having to stick around until the plane finally did take off 24 hours late.
Oh yeah. And then again, I really look down to someone like Brad Shepard, who, well, I already talked about this in a bit of Twitter and such. He's like, talked down to saying to Taylor Hendricks, saying, it would be nice that all the pro wrestlers and all leagues could work together and such. His response said, this is the process of a child. It's business, it's competition, and all this stuff. I'm like, have you not known anything about the history of pro wrestling? That it was the most healthiest at a time when the territories worked together. This is actually a response from, I retweeted a response from LV5454, old school guy from the wrestling, YouTube wrestling community back in the day. Look for his wrestling videos up. He's pretty good. I'm going to see if I can put a link there in the description of his YouTube channel. You should watch his stuff. He's really good. But yeah, that type of ignorance of these type of like Brad Shepard and such, who doesn't know the history of what the wrestling and such, how it was back in the day, which, don't get me wrong, there's some good stuff here today, but compared to the territory era, to what wrestling was, we had in New York, the East Coast, you got West Coast, you got Midwest, you got all this stuff, and all these other territories, wrestling was a lot more a lot more well known, probably a lot more healthier than it is today, being homogenized and with what I mean, WWE and
ever since this latest incident, guess what? Shepard's now beefing with Lance Storm, who more or less debunked his claims that he was directly working with Dominic Mysterio in his build up in WWE right now. Storm proceeded to say, trying to set that up. What happened was Shepard claims that Storm had been working with Dominic in conjunction with WWE. Storm proceeded to reply on Twitter that no, that hasn't happened. I haven't started working with them yet. So naturally, of course, Shepard just turns on Storm and says stuff like, well, WWE's making a big mistake here because he's a mole for Meltzer. So just watch to see Meltzer get a whole lot of new exclusive and stuff. This guy completely acts like a paranoid jackass. I'm not going to be afraid to say that.
No. You can say my
he
show.
responded to me even. Because the first thing I did once I read about the stories, all I did was point out that guys like Brad Shepard are not real journalists and are spreading a bunch of unverifiable false information. And keep in mind, I did not post Brad Shepard's Twitter handle in that Twitter post I made. I had not directly responded to him up to that point. But sure enough, he immediately responds with basically saying, paraphrasing here because I don't have it in front of me, but he said, go ahead and believe the company line. A sheep like you will always believe, or something like that. But just what gets me about that is, like I said, I didn't link to him up to that point. I didn't respond to him up to that point. So the only way he could have known a guy like me who has less than 900 Twitter followers said something like that about him, he had to be farming and searching for his name on any Twitter post out there. That is paranoid.
Oh yeah, and I've seen this too many times. A lot of other YouTubers, like, they sit there waiting, like, oh, I had someone talk, like they have Google alerts set up to their name, which is it's sad that you sit there trying to get this type of, chasing a clout and such. And I'm like, man, you don't have any, if you don't burn all these bridges and such, maybe if you didn't do all this type of stuff and putting out lies and rumors out there saying, I'm just asking you a question or whatever, maybe you would have much better sources. Maybe you would have actually, do actual work to actually get the rightful information. Instead of just being
it bothers me especially, and like I said, I had to keep trying to explain to people like this because I'm going to admit, sometimes a lot of what I do talk about, especially online and social media, I can come off as being highly defensive of WWE. It can sound like that. I admit that. In this particular case, I can tell you, I am not saying this as a WWE fan or someone who's always going to defend them. In fact, I haven't really watched WWE programming in months, just so you know about that. This is just solely for me being a student of journalism. That's what I studied in college. I wrote for my school paper. I did broadcasting work on their radio station. I might not be Walter Cronkite or Bob Woodward, and I'm not even going to claim to be anything like them. But if nothing else, I still retain a lot of the basic information that I was taught on how to do correct journalism work. And the main thing is that you get as much information, as many sources as possible to verify what you're trying to figure out. And this is a problem that's going through a lot of these online media blogs in all facets of, especially in entertainment, as evidenced by that Disney story I talked about beforehand. But it's definitely an issue, especially in professional wrestling, because especially since the business is still very discreet and very secretive. So it can be very difficult to get a lot of information. But then you've got so many people who want to be able to say, there's really no other better way to say it. They want to be spoilers.
Yeah, and
they want to. They're in a situation. It's a really bad situation where these guys, I think they want to think of them as sports journalists, but whether they want to admit it or not, knowing that they're not actually covering a sport. They want to get. Worse, I think they know it. They know because they know everything is prearranged. They want to think that going deeper and deeper and deeper behind the scenes to try to tell people what went on into why a match got booked like that way, that's going to make them look better. And I just come back to actually a meme post I only recently saw on Facebook and the like, which basically said, remember when we were kids and we didn't watch Dirt Sheets and we were able to enjoy it a lot better? More something along those lines.
Oh yeah, and it gets to I watch some of the stuff. It's the show. I have tuned out most of it. I still watch Alvarez and Meltzer for reviews after the fact. I mean, heck, Brian Alvarez's review of Hell in a Cell, to me, it's always, this past Hell in a Cell, the beginning of it is still one of the most funniest things I've seen in a while. But yeah, I generally push that out when I'm actually enjoying the stuff, and it's a lot better. And to me, when you look at stuff like that, it really just drags down the product. I mean, before the Roman had his issues and such, when I try watching the stuff there, trying to watch the show, it's just the drag of all that stuff, the baggage in that, it just it kills the momentum of the show. I'm like, I can't watch anymore. It's not fun anymore. It's legitimately just, the contrarians just to be contrarian. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. That's why you just can't watch the stuff. I can't even be a part of it unless I put the mute or just maybe watch, I'm like, oh, put that background noise. I just can't. It just
I'm also the only guy in the wrestling media that I might watch, if you want to call it media, is Brian Zane.
Oh yeah. I watch his stuff too. So his stuff too. But again, it's just the negativity brings out. Heck, it made me almost like, screw it, not even watch the WWE Network anymore. I barely watch it. I watch maybe old school stuff, but it gets to a point where it's like, I can't watch this anymore. I can't post on any of the stuff, and I'm gonna be a little bit real, and I love the website that keeps putting me on here, figuring out the network and everything else. But sometimes those forum posts, man, I'm like, can we just sit back and watch the show? I mean, I can be contrarian you want, but I'm like, can we just watch the show? And and I have my takes, but sometimes, like, it's sometimes best to sit back and watch the show and have a little bit of fun and everything. And I missed that, and heck, I didn't even look at most of the, stuff there. I watched Survivor Series the first time, the new Survivor Series. It was fun without all the, baggage or anything else. But yeah, I might be going back into it, but it's just like, I'm hopeful. I'm just hopeful that maybe this incident and seeing how this thing, maybe people are going to be a lot more choosy, a lot more wiser into picking the best situation. But you never know. But my hope is that this could be something people be a little more wiser. Then again, I saw people responding to posts of We Got It Covered, saying that the DC Superman is going to be this, that, and I'm like, yeah. It just keeps happening.
You just gotta keep. All you can do is ourselves. Remember, don't take everything at face value. And try to do as much information. There's a reason I end one of my other online shows with the phrase, "If you saw it on the internet, it must be crap."
Yeah, it's a shame as well. But you know what? I was going to say a little bit of positive stuff here before Thanksgiving and everything else. But I hope people, like I said, will come a little more wiser and honestly try to give the stuff a chance. If it's bad, well, there's always a 10,000 stuff on the internet that can tell you that, basically reaffirm that. But I always say give it a chance. But but yeah,
always great dropping by, dude.
Oh yeah, man, no problem. And I love having you on, and everyone else on too. Thanks to Money, also thanks to Money Mike coming in as well. And
hope to see you. Hope to see you at MagFest. I'm going to be up there this January. Definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Oh yes, can't wait. Oh, so anyway, thanks very much for listening, people. Also, before we head out, reminder, Astral Chain review will be up this Sunday. So yeah, I'm gonna be working on it this week. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. It's Dukect here. Peace and love. I'll see y'all when I see y'all.